Welcome back to RealCast by TM. RealCast is about real stories, real talk, and the world of real estate. Guys, today I'm super excited because I have a special guest. The star of On in Manhattan flew all the way from US to our show. I'm just kidding. I just got him here. One and only top broker of Serhant Team, Nile Lundgren, right?
You nailed it. Thank you very much, TM. I appreciate you for having me on.
Thank you very much for coming. It's really an honor to have you in the show.
My pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your time. I want to make this podcast a little bit different.
Okay. You tell me.
First of all, we want to know about yourself for sure. And then I want to dive into Miami, New York, real estate. And we will do kind of comparison between Dubai as well.
Okay.
I think it's going to be something interesting and valuable information for the audience, for all of us. So the first question, Nile, when did you start real estate and how did you end up in Ryan Serhant's team?
Sure.
Please.
So I started in real estate in 2007, 2008.
Wow.
I was a young kid. I graduated from college. I moved to Brooklyn, New York. My friend purchased a brownstone in Brooklyn. I lived in the basement with him. My goal was to move to New York to be on television. I knew I had a certain level of charisma, and I said, I have to go to New York. That's the only place I belong. I didn't have a plan. So I went to Brooklyn. I lived in the basement, and I was playing Mario Kart, the video game. And the guy that sold my friend the house, his name is Edwin, he came down to the basement. I was living on an air mattress. I had credit card debt. I had no cash. I had no money. I was literally eating ramen noodles and I'm playing video games. And he came down and said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I don't know." He's like, "Do you have good credit?" I said, "No, I don't." He said, "Do you know people with good credit?" And I said, "Yes, I do." And he said, "Do you want to work in real estate?" And I said, "Okay, yeah, sounds like a plan." So I started working in real estate with him. He owned about 50 buildings in Brooklyn.
Wow.
And my job was I went to a basement on Hart Street in Bushwick, and there was a whiteboard, and he said, "These are the addresses. Here are the keys. Go take pictures, put ads on Craigslist, and let me see what you got." The first ever showing that I did a deal. It was a $600 a month rental apartment in a basement in Bushwick. It was rat infested, but I still did the deal, and I made about $200. So back in the day when I was about 23 years old, that was a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I was very excited, but I made it quick. And then I did it again, and the next showing I had with another property, I did that deal. And then 2 days later, I did another deal, and I was like, wow, I seem to have a knack for this sales thing. So that immediately I got the bug. And Edwin said, "Hey, do you think you could sell a building?" And I said, "Yeah, how do you suggest I go about that?" He's like, "Just call everybody you know." I was like, okay. So I called everybody who I went to college with and everybody's parents. And about 2 weeks later, I closed on my first sale. It was a $750,000 building it was in Seneca Avenue in Ridgewood, Queens. And as soon as I did that, I said, "You know what? Maybe I should get my real estate license," because I didn't even have my license at the time. I was so young and naive. Now, this was right at the time when the 2008 financial crisis happened. So the world was imploding, which is a great time to get into real estate, apparently. Exactly. But for me, it was an exciting moment. And I got my license. I started at a very small firm, but that firm taught me everything. They focused on training and education in the business. And I think that training and education was really set me up to be the agent that I am now, because it gave me the fundamentals to be working in the interest of my client, not just in the interest of myself. A lot of agents only care about themselves. So I would work for the client, and I learned so much by doing that. Then from there, I went to commercial real estate. I sold the biggest deal at that company, and I was like 24 years old. And I was like, if I'm the youngest one here and I'm selling the biggest deal, I can't work here. So I started selling commercial. And that was the hardest thing I've ever done. I didn't make money for 2 years. But what I did do was I learned how to cold call and get people on the phone who have money and make them believe me and trust me. So that skill set is what transcended for the rest of my career, and it really set me up for success because although I didn't make any money and I was literally starving, I was starving on the street, like I had no money, but I was learning and I was so hungry, and I said, you know what, no matter what, I'm gonna figure it out, I'm gonna do whatever it takes, I'm gonna learn, I'm gonna educate myself, and by doing that, I set myself up to meet a couple developers, and I partnered with them. And so at the age of 28 years old, I opened up my first brokerage. So I built that company from 0 to 35 agents in a matter of 2 years. And then I joined a company called Compass, which is the new technology company in the States. And I joined that company. I was one of the first agents to join there. And it was a great experience because I learned how to be a broker again. When I had my own company, I was more of a manager.
Yeah.
So then I taught myself how to be a broker, and I had incredible success there. And throughout that time, I always had one person who I admired and wanted to model my business after, and that was Ryan Serhant.
Yeah.
And the way that I thought about it, perhaps it was a bit of ego, but I said, I won't call Ryan. I'm gonna do and work in the business so that Ryan calls me. So during the depths of COVID, one of my very, very wealthy clients from New York called me up and said, I think I wanna buy in Miami. And I said, great, fire up the jet. We're gonna go down to Miami and I'm gonna find you a place. So I use all of my connections. I have a lot of great connects down in Miami. I've been going to Miami for 15 years. I secured a deal and we sold it for $18 million. At that time, one of the other major brokerages in America called me and said, I want you to be my golden goose. We're gonna hire you. You're gonna be the guy. I'm gonna give you all of these listings. You're gonna work with developers. You're gonna do New York. You're gonna do Miami. And I said, I am gonna do New York. And I am gonna do Miami. But I still was hoping that somebody would call me. And then on a December morning, I got a call and I said, hello? And he says, hi, is this Nile? And I said, yes. He says, it's Ryan Serhant. And I said, wow. Ryan Serhant, you called, how can I help you? He goes, I just launched my new brokerage. I know what you just did down in Miami, and I see that you have a presence on social media and YouTube, and I want you to be a part of my brokerage. And that was a defining moment in my life. I went in for the interview. Within 10 minutes, he offered me a job, and I joined Ryan Serhant, and the rest is history.
Amazing. Wow, I didn't know that he called you.
He called me. I made it so.
But I love this mindset, man. This is incredible. So I'm going to make sure he will call me. No, I'm not.
Exactly.
I love that. I love
You got to do enough
Right.
for somebody to recognize you so that they call you. A lot of people, especially in my position now, being on Owning Manhattan and Netflix, they just call me and say, oh, I just got my license. What am I going to do with that?
Yeah.
Well, you get your license, you go close a couple deals, and then you call me and tell me you just closed 15 deals. But you come to me, say that you want to learn from me. Well, you better learn from somebody else. Because if you're going to learn from me, you're going to have to pay for it. Because I earned it myself, and that's what it's going to take.
Sure. Amazing. Amazing story, man. Amazing. Okay, now the question is, working with Ryan Serhant. So how many years you guys are working together?
I've been working with Ryan for over 4.5 years.
4.5 years.
Yeah.
That's the question now. What are the pros and cons working with Ryan Serhant?
Well, we'll start with the pros. We'll start with the pros. Before I met Ryan, I was 14 years in the business and I sold $100 million worth of real estate. In my first full year with Ryan, I sold $100 million worth of real estate.
Wow.
So the pro is that I became a millionaire very, very fast because I learned how to move fast, how to be adaptable, how to close bigger and bigger and bigger deals. So remember, I'm one of the only agents at the company that closes deals independent of working with Ryan in the $20 to $30 million range. That was me. So
incredible.
I learned a lot from Ryan, which allowed me to then go and do those deals even bigger from what I'd done prior to even meeting him. So the pro of working with him is that he's the #1 guy in the world. He's the biggest and hardest working person I've ever met. He gets up before everybody else. He works harder than everybody else throughout the day. He doesn't go to sleep until late at night. I've never seen anybody with that kind of work ethic. In terms of me, my work ethic is insane. I work 24/7. New York City, we're the city that never sleeps. I'm the broker that never sleeps. I don't sleep, bro. I'm out here, I'm doing deals like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., it doesn't matter. I'm on the phone, I'm getting deals done. So the con of working with Ryan is although I'm a 24/7 worker, and I'm all about the work and the hustle and the deals and the grind because I just love deal making. The con is that I used to have a life. I used to be able to go out on Saturday nights and hang out with my friends and party and do things. And that's how I built my business. I went out to clubs, I'd go meet people, and that's how a lot of people do it.
Yeah.
But now, I don't have that because I'm so busy. Whether it's filming for the television show that we're on Netflix, whether it's filming social content, whether it's getting up, closing deals, pitching apartments, showing buyers, flying between New York and Miami, managing a team, growing. So all of that combined, it's sort of like Ryan never tells you that when you start working for him, it's like getting into a space shuttle. And he closes the capsule and he just hits send, and he's sending you to outer space, and you're looking at him like, what's about to happen? And then it's like, and so much is happening. I do more in a week now than I did in a year at my previous brokerage. So it's just, it's a blessing, and I'm not complaining about it. But one of the cons is that I have to make a lot of personal sacrifices to be where I'm at now, which means that I don't have as many friends as I used to. I don't get to see my family as much as I would like to. And those are sacrifices that I personally have to make, but I am making them because I know that it will benefit me and my family in the long run. And my goal is to be number one. It's not to be number two. My goal is to win every single time. And I will do it. And I will. And I'm doing it right now.
I love that. Love that. Yeah, you're right. Actually, you have to join someone who are better than you.
Always.
That's, stronger than you, so he can elevate you to the next level. I love that. Okay. RealCast.
RealCast, by the way. RealCast, by the way.
Okay. So tell us the story about the show, bro. Like Owning Manhattan. I mean, how did it start and how did it affect your business?
So Owning Manhattan has been one of the biggest blessings in my life, and I'm extremely grateful for Ryan, for Serhant, for World of Wonder, and for Netflix for allowing me to have a platform that's globally recognized. So I just want to start off by saying that. In terms of how I got to be on that show, it wasn't easy. Everybody who worked at Serhant was clamoring to be on the show. And there were multiple rounds of interviews. And everybody was going through the interviews. But the advantage that I had over everybody else is that I was on a Bravo TV show, a reality show, before this. So I already had experience in front of the camera, which is probably why when you see season 1, that I'm the guy that stands out from everybody else, because I understand where the camera is, what's happening. I understand that it's a game. We're in this room, there's a scenario around us, but if you can work the game of it and not take it too seriously and know how to be creative in the moment and improvise, that will allow you to succeed further. So I had a very distinct advantage because I already had that experience, but I was forced into all of the meetings and the interviews and all the rounds, and I just was myself. I was very direct, very upfront. I'm just gonna do what I'm gonna do, and the producers loved it. And when it came down to it, we all got put into a room like this, and we sat around, and Ryan sat at the table, and he's like, now we're gonna call Netflix. And he called them, put them on speakerphone, and Netflix said, you know what? We choose you guys, and you guys are all about to be mega stars. So congratulations. And it was one of the most relieving moments of my life, because I knew that I had reached that point, but I also knew that this is where all the work is now gonna start. Because not only is it enough to get to that point, but you have to produce in that moment, and you have to be consistent, and you have to be a star, and you have to be charismatic, and you have to be quick on your feet. So I was up for the challenge, and when everything started to roll for season 1, I was just ready. And a lot of people were scared. Cameras around 24/7. People are like, oh, well, there's a microphone on me. I'm like, yeah, there's a mic on me. What's up? Let's go. So I already had that experience. I think that put me into a different category. And I think that's what showed in season 1. And I know that's what's really going to separate me in season 2 as well.
No, you were definitely one of the characters that everyone wanted to watch. When I heard like you coming here, I'm like, I'm excited. I want to meet him. I want to sit down with him, like talk to him. And It's incredible, man.
Thank you.
Great show, and we're
Thank
super
you.
excited to see this season 2.
Thank you.
It's fantastic. I know
Thank
how
you.
it's challenging to film because I've been there, not as a main cast.
Right.
Not yet. Let's see, Ben. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
But it's definitely challenging. But I see like what they're going through, like
Right.
Ben, Sarah,
Right.
Riyadh, and
Right.
it's really, really
Not easy, man.
Not easy.
It's not
man.
easy
Not
to put your
man.
whole life out there in front of the cameras, in front of the microphones, 7
Yeah.
days a week for years. I mean, this is,
Yeah,
you think,
it's-
season 1 took a year and a half.
Oh wow, year and a half.
Year and a half.
Crazy.
Because they had to do it and see, oh, this doesn't work. Do this over
Yeah,
here. That didn't
again.
work. Do it again. So it took a year and a half just to get season 1 off the ground.
Wow.
Think about how long you have to wait. So when I first got
Yes.
introduced to the idea and Ryan called me and said, we're doing a show, I said, okay. That was 3 years before it even launched.
Oh,
so
wow.
I had to wait a year after I got noticed. Then I had to go through the interviews. We had to film a trailer, like a preview one, and then we started filming, and then they had to scrap that and start this, and it was another year and a half. And then once it was done, you had to wait 6 more months, and then it launched. So there was so much anticipation. You know, what am I going to look like? This is Netflix. This isn't Bravo. Bravo's an American market.
Yeah.
You know, Netflix is a global market. Am I going to look crazy? You know, I have a distinct look. I look a little crazy. You know, but I was like, I can either run away from it or I can embrace who I am.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I did. And I think that's one of the reasons why I was able to separate myself, not only on the show, but as an agent in America. I'm ranked in the top 1% of agents in America. And there are millions of agents in the country.
Yeah,
and
it's the most competitive market in the world.
It
right?
is. It is.
It's crazy.
Dubai is also very competitive. I've been here for the last couple of days and just seeing how everybody moves and shake out here. It feels very much like the New York energy that I'm used to.
Now we're gonna talk about that. So like New York inside out.
Yep.
And you guys are doing business in Miami as well, as you told me about. So I want to understand like the DNA of each market.
Yes.
For me, for the audience as well. I'm sure there will be some people who might be interested to buy properties in New York or Miami.
Yeah.
Make sure you reach out to us. I'll introduce you to Nile, our partners in New York.
Exactly.
And we'll get it done. So what are you've been here as well. So what are the differences between Dubai, New York, and Miami? So
one of the main
words.
things that I notice is that here in Dubai, there's so much construction.
Yeah.
So with all the global capital that's flowing into the city, I believe that the off plan is a major part of the market, meaning you're buying pre-development, you're buying from a developer who just acquired land and then they're building the property.
Yeah.
So I would say that's one of the biggest parts of the market here. Now in Manhattan, you don't really have that. You can't just, identify a piece of land and start selling without even buying it. You have to go through levels of approval and all these different things. So in New York, it's more or less like it's a condo, it's already built, right? The thing about Manhattan is that it's fixed. It's an island. There's only you're not building more. Maybe you could pick up a couple buildings, knock it down and build, and then I could sell into that where it's kind of a pre-market thing, but it's never like off plan. Like there's already a structure coming up, right? So New York is very much, I'm selling somebody else's condo, a celebrity's condo who's owned that for many years. And then they're like, hey, Nile, I want to sell this. We go in, we do the Serhant marketing from the property tours to the videos, et cetera, social media, and then we sell it. So that's on a one-off basis. What I've done recently in Manhattan is I've, especially working with Ryan, is I've gotten into the new development market where I'm representing developers and we're selling out whole buildings, 50 units, 70 units, 100 units at a clip. So that's been something that's been a little bit overwhelming considering I do resale business as well. But overall, I think that's the New York market is its condos. By the way, the housing stock in Manhattan, 75% of it is rentals. So New York is a rental city. It's not really for sale. Out of the part that is for sale, the 25%, 75% of that is co-ops. Co-ops is something that you don't see here, but it's basically, you're not buying real property, you're buying shares in the corporation of the building, and they give you a proprietary lease back to use the space. So the only thing that you own are stock share certificates that represent your pro rata share of the property based on square footage, and that's how you assess the value, and that's how the ownership structure is. And then out of the,
Interesting.
that's 75% of the sales market, and then 24% of the sales market is condos. So condos are very, very scarce in the city, which is why they command a premium. The other 1% is townhouses, and I sell a lot of townhouses. Those are real property. You buy it, you're good.
Own it.
You're good.
Okay.
Now that's the New York market.
Okay.
Okay, and it's a highly competitive market. Very, very hard to break into for anybody unless you have insane connections. It's going to take you 3 to 5 years to even understand what's going on, because what's a co-op? What's a condo? What is a condop? Is this for rent? Is that for sale? Can you rent that? It's for rent, but you can't rent that because they don't allow international renters. So this is only reserved for domestic. So you have to understand the nuances to be able to guide your clients efficiently and not waste anybody's time. So that's the Manhattan, the New York City market. And then you have the Miami market. Now, Miami market is a little bit more similar to Dubai, whereas you have off-plan. For example, we represent the Mercedes-Benz places down in Miami. Now, the Mercedes-Benz places also are here. The first ever Mercedes-Benz places was branded here in Dubai. And we represent Mercedes down in Miami. We're selling those off-plan as well. So the building is not built yet, but we're doing the online presentations, the virtual tours, et cetera, and that's how we sell. So that's one aspect of the market. I would say that Miami is segmented in 3 different markets. It's older condos from the 70s that were built that people are living in and that are being resold. That's the first part. I don't really mess with those units because there's the thing about it in Miami is that the maintenance or the common charges that you, the service fees that you pay every month continue to go up because the building is so old and it requires more maintenance. So I don't like to touch that market, although I do work with clients and we sell. It's fine. But that's not my focus. Then there's the other market, which is more or less the off-plan market, which is where you have branded residences. The Porsche Design Tower, right? You have the Bugatti Tower. You have the Mercedes-Benz Tower.
You have Bugatti Tower as well.
The 11 Tower. So many different Aston Martin Tower, like you name it, it's all there. It's a branded condominium tower market. Now, that's the second market, right? And then the third part is the villas. This is where I like to dance. This is really where I like to shine. Fortunately for me, I've built some insane relationships with developers and I have some insane contacts. So I understand that market better than anybody else. Not because I am in New York and I'm looking, oh, that's what it's like. No. I have friends down there. We're on the yacht. We're wake surfing in Biscayne Bay. I know the islands from the Venetian to the Sunset Islands. You name it. I understand who the owners are, who owns it, when they bought it, why they bought it. Why? Because I have been living there. I've been going there. I've been spending time there. Because remember, Miami is like the 6th borough of New York. There's 5 boroughs in New York. There's Bronx, there's Staten Island, there's Queens, there's Manhattan, and there's Brooklyn. But then what do you do in the winter? You go to Miami. So the Miami is considered the 6th borough of New York. So all the New Yorkers go down there. They call them snowbirds. So they only go down there for the winter because it's so cold in Manhattan.
It is.
So what I've done is over the years, whenever I made money, I would always go down to Miami for a month or 2. So by doing that, I have so many connections, which is why I've been able to do large scale deals down there because I understand the nuances of the market. For example, there's the Sunset Islands in Miami Beach. So if you're looking at Miami, there's the Miami Beach Strip, the Atlantic Ocean is here, and then you have Miami. There's the Biscayne Bay, which is a body of water right here. The Sunset Islands are right on the west side of Miami Beach. Now, the properties that faced west, when the sun goes up and then the sun goes down, the sun sets beyond the skyline of Miami over here. Okay, and what that does is when you're sitting on the Sunset Islands and you're looking out, it creates these incredible sunsets, orange, pink skies, purple skies. It's literally God's paintbrush every single night, and it's the most remarkable thing in the world. But the scarcity of these islands is that there's only 16 lots that face that direction. So you could be on the island, right? You could be on this island, but if you're facing east or you're facing south, you're looking at another island. So you have a canal view, so you're just looking at another house. There's no view. But I understand the scarcity because I have friends that have those views. So my understanding of what it actually means from practice, from living it. Like I live like I'm a billionaire because my friends are billionaires.
Yeah.
And I know what it's like. So when I talk to billionaires, I'm like, no. You don't want to be on the beach.
Yeah.
You want to be here. How did I do my first deal down in Miami? My client said, I want to be on Miami Beach. And I said, you want to be on Miami Beach? That's fine. If you want to be on Miami Beach, that means you're going to live in a condo. Do you like rules? He's like, no, I don't like rules. I'm like, okay. Well, the hot tub closes at 8 p.m. He's like, 8 p.m.? I like to go out, use the hot tub at 2 a.m. I'm like, great. That means you're going to need to be on the west side, on one of the Sunset Islands, where you're in a villa and you have access to the pool unfettered 24/7. So let's come over here. And then my expertise allowed them to feel comfortable making a change from wanting a condo east facing on the beach to now getting a house that's west facing on the bay. Now, you don't just get a house that's west facing on the bay. You get one that has yacht access, that has enough depth that you could park a yacht, that has a place where you can have a lift, so you have a wake surf boat. So I do wake surfing, we surf on the back of the boat. So my expertise in terms of, high-end water sports, all those different types of things allow me to sell the west-facing property. So my main objective down in Miami is selling the large-scale villas. I currently have a villa right now that's listed in Gable Estates. Gable Estates is probably considered, actually, there's a news article that just came out in Business Insider that states that Gable Estates is the most expensive zip code in all of America. I just listed a villa there for $27.5 million. And the way that I was able to do that was to showcase all the expertise and the experience that I've had, even though I live in New York. I understand the market better than anybody else because I'm a student of the game. You can't be a good real estate agent if you don't study, if you're not a junkie.
Sure.
And all of those things allowed me to have a very big presence and then build a team. So although I'm in New York or Dubai or wherever, I have deals that are happening right now in Miami. So right now, as we're sitting here, okay, it's Friday morning because it's the afternoon in Dubai, and I have showings going on in Manhattan, in Brooklyn, in Miami, in different parts of Miami, in condos and villas, and I'm not even there. So I've been building this business strategically over the course of the last 4.5 years with Ryan, modeling my business after Ryan, learning from Ryan, and now I'm at a point where all the dominoes are right about to fall.
Incredible. Wow. Insane. Okay. That's great. That's great. So let's talk about the regulations. We spoke about it the other day, but I want to bring this question about the regulations and buyers and sellers commissions in New York and Miami, because we spoke about the challenges we are facing here.
Yeah.
And I would like to hear what's happening there. So maybe we can implement it here as well.
To be honest, I'm very blown away by the way Dubai real estate works. If you're a seller, you could be working with 7 different sales agents who are trying to help you sell it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a very confusing way to reach the market.
Yeah.
You could take the perfect pictures, you could do all the property tour videos, and then somebody else takes crappy photos, has terrible marketing, and then the brand that you just created goes down, right? So there's, I guess, advantages to that, but disadvantages. In New York or in the United States, the way that it works, if you're a seller, you're going to hire one person. And that one person is the point for the entire deal. And that one person works with all the other agents. So yeah, you could have this agent, but he could still sell it if he brings the buyer. And by the way, I'll let you come to my property and take content, and you could go sell it just like it was your listing, but you bring the buyer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
That's fine. I'm okay with that. But I know that if I'm going to be investing my time, energy, effort, and spending thousands of dollars on the media creation, that I need to know that I'm going to make the money if this property sells. And if I don't sell it, that's on me.
Yeah.
Right? So in the United States, if you're an agent, you're representing a seller, it's likely that you're going to be the only person selling it. It's called an exclusive listing. So that's the first thing.
Okay.
And then the way that it used to work before is if you were working with a buyer, it was more of a handshake. Okay, I work with you. And then maybe that guy never talks to you again and they work with another broker and you don't really know. And I feel like that's a lot how it is in Dubai.
It is, yeah.
Right? So but here in the States, there was just a new law that was passed. And that new law says that if a buyer hires an agent to work with them, they have to sign an exclusive agreement with that agent. So if I'm working with you and I show you 5 properties and you leave me and you buy it, I'm still going to get the commission because I have the piece of paper that says it. So,
I love that.
So now what that has done is it makes the job for the real estate agent a little bit harder at the beginning because you have to get them to sign. Right? And traditionally in the States, you don't do that. It's only on the seller side. The seller is the only one that signs.
Yeah.
But now it's for the buyers and the sellers. So the advantage for me and for agents who are experienced like myself now is that I can talk to a buyer and I can explain to them why they should be signing it with somebody like me who has experience. I could only imagine what it means to be a brand new agent who doesn't have the experience and then has to get somebody who they just met to sign something. That I think is a little bit difficult, and I think it makes it a lot harder for new agents breaking into the market.
True.
But for me as an experienced agent,
us, I mean, we need that.
it works.
Right?
It works.
So,
and I'd
we need
rather
that.
have somebody sign and work with me than hope he's going to work with me because I know I'm guaranteed the money if he's a real buyer. And that's my job to find out through questions and discovery if he actually is or her, if they are real buyers.
Yeah,
So it's
that
different.
makes sense.
But I think it's a little bit more regulated, and I think that regulation gives a little bit more peace to the agent because they know that people aren't going over here or over there or over here or over there. So although it's a new change, there's been a lot of pushback regarding it, it's actually benefited the more experienced agents like myself, and we're able to do more deals faster because of it.
Yeah, I love that, especially with sellers. You know, I've been saying that for so many years here, man.
It's confusing.
Like I'm even telling to my seller, I mean, just give it. You can give them to anyone else, you know, not necessarily me, but give it to one agency, one agent. No, we have like 3, like up to 3 they can give it. Give it to one and like interview them, see what they do, and give it to one agency.
Yeah, and if you don't like it, after a couple months, maybe you could cancel.
exactly.
But just if there's one person that's running point on the whole deal and they're reputable, then they will sell it. But if you give it to 3 to 5, then who's coming in your house?
Yeah,
you have some broker who just got in the business who's bringing in a fake buyer to get. I just feel like that's also dangerous.
It is.
You know,
like
I wouldn't want to put anybody into that situation. And if I'm going to be selling my property, I want one person. TM, I want you to represent me, not 15 other people. So I think Dubai has a lot of room for change because if they do make those changes, I think that'll really help people like you, people like Ben, people like Riyadh or Sarah really go much higher because, you know, it just takes out the unnecessary competition. It's what it is. It's unnecessary competition for the sake of being unnecessary competition, and it doesn't benefit anybody, not even the seller.
Yeah, that's true. And what are the commissions like in US? That's also like interesting part for us.
Yeah. So, you know, it's
on secondary. I'm talking about
so the secondary market, you're generally looking at 2.5% to 3% to your side. So the total commission that a seller would pay is likely 6 or 5%. Okay. So if I have the deal, the listing exclusively, you bring a buyer, it's a 5% commission. I get 2.5, you get 2.5. 6% commission, you get 3, I get 3. You know, look, if you go up in terms of price point, you know, 25, 30 million, you know, maybe you get 2%. But nothing really lower than that.
Okay, we have two, like 4%
Got
in
it.
total. Yeah. Okay, that's good. That's good. But definitely we need some regulations here, man. This is like...
Yeah, I think it would be really important.
Yeah, so... Okay, let's talk about the taxes. I mean, I think that's where Dubai wins, right? Let's talk about taxes.
By a mile.
In the US, let's say... if I'm an investor, a foreigner, I want to buy property in US. So do I need to pay tax over there? How this sort of...
Yeah, so my understanding of the
explain?
way that it works here in Dubai is that once you purchase the property, you have to pay the government a fee of around 4%.
Yes.
That's your tax that you pay when you go into the property.
Yes.
But you
Correct.
don't pay monthly taxes or
No.
annual taxes.
No.
And if you do sell it in the future, the money that you get on that gain is yours.
Yes.
Not the government's.
Zero tax. Zero
So I
tax.
think from that standpoint, it's extremely beneficial to be investing in Dubai.
Yeah.
Comparatively, in the United States, what makes it a little bit more challenging is you pay the purchase price. There's no extra fee up top, right?
Okay.
But you pay the purchase price. But then the second you pay it, you're paying tax every month. Every month. Every month. And the taxes are not cheap, especially in a city like New York. So you're paying for, for example, in the penthouse at Central Park Tower, it's a $200 million listing that we represent.
Okay. Yeah.
The taxes on that are $17,000 a month.
17,000.
Forever. And it will continue to go up.
Wow.
$17,000 US dollars. And then that's just taxes.
What about
Then you have
service
comment,
fees?
then the service fees are another 20.
Okay.
So,
wow.
once you buy it, you're now on the hook every month for about 37,000, and that's if you don't use any financing. That's if you buy cash. So immediately you're getting drained from that, which is tough. So it doesn't really make sense to buy in New York with a loan. The only way to buy in New York and then make it work as an investment is by paying cash. Because if you have to have the service fee and you have to pay the taxes and you have to pay a loan, there's no margin if you rent it out. It's not a good. It's not a really good investment, right? So let's take it one step further. Let's say you sell that property.
Yeah. What's happening?
Depends on how long you hold it for. Let's say you hold it for less than 2 years, then you're subject to capital gains. Short-term capital gains, which could be 40, 45%. So let's say you make $1 million. So you buy something
That's
for
a
$5 million. The second you buy it, you're paying taxes and service fees. And then you sell it for $1 million more, but then you only take $550,000 of it. The government takes $450,000 of that.
Wow.
Which is not cheap.
Insane.
So that's one of the disadvantages of buying and then selling quickly in Manhattan. The real play when you buy in Manhattan is sort of like buying a Patek Philippe. You buy it and you pass it down for generations because overall, sure, the market might go up and down, COVID, it might go down, this and that. It goes like this, but the trend line in Manhattan is always up. So I'm not poo-pooing Manhattan. I think it's one of the safest investments over the long term, and it's generational. But it's not a city where you come in, buy, flip, this, that, because you're just going to get banged out in terms of taxes. So, for me, if I'm going to be investing my dollars, I decide to invest elsewhere. So I have multiple properties that I own. I'm a real estate investor myself throughout the East Coast, from Connecticut to North Carolina, and I also bought off plan down in Miami. The Miami project that I bought off plan.
Yeah. What about Miami?
That's where that's very look. You're still subject to the same capital gains, but you're seeing a lot more capital appreciation. Right? New York is safe. Okay, Miami, you might double your money. I mean, I bought something in 2020 off plan. It's not ready yet. It'll be done in about a year. So 2026, it's doubled in value. You don't really see that necessarily in Manhattan unless you're at the 10, 20, 30, $40 million range where luxury has just gone up because inflation is so high. So in Miami, it's a little bit more risky. You buy it, it could double, but a hurricane could knock the building down and tomorrow there's no building. And then you just gave $400,000 and you don't have any asset to show for it. So although Manhattan is a little bit slower, it's a more safe bet. And the one thing about New York is the rental market is so strong there. The vacancy rates in New York are less than 1%. So that means that if you have a property and you put it on the market, you're going to rent it just like that. So Manhattan is a more long-term investment. Miami is a little bit more risky, but you have the opportunity to double your money in just a couple of years, where Manhattan, unless you're dealing in the uber luxury price points, $20 million, $30 million price points or higher, that's where you'll see that kind of appreciation simply because of inflation. So Miami is really where you're going to make more of a return, which is similar to the Dubai market, versus Manhattan, which is a blue chip, stable asset that you're just going to hold on to and keep for forever. And if you do that thing that you buy today for $1 million in 10, 15, 20 years is now going to be $4 million, $5 million. But you have to keep the property. You have to pay the service fees. You have to pay the condo. You have to keep it rented out. It's a lot of work. The stuff that I bought down in Miami off plan, I don't even own it yet. I just signed a contract and I'm just waiting. So I think from that standpoint, it's a little bit more risky, but it's less headache on the day-to-day. There's no monthly fees that I have to pay.
So you don't pay, when you buy off-plan, you don't pay taxes until it's ready.
Until it's ready.
Okay.
Until it's ready. So, yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
That's fair. All right. That's very interesting. Okay, let's talk about the safety and security thing. I mean, Dubai and overall UAE, it's ranked the safest country in the world. What about New York with this,
Well, I'll be honest
especially
with you.
for international
buyers.
buyers.
I'll be honest with you. New York has been a little bit challenging. Especially post-COVID. There's been, administrative changes. There's different mayors who have different philosophies on crime, and I understand that there's different groups that don't have the same opportunities, perhaps, and I understand that administrations like to change policies and laws to benefit those groups, but the disadvantage by doing that is that those groups take advantage. And New York used to be one of the safest places that you can live. In the last couple of years, it's changed, and you have to be a lot more alert. There's crazy people on the subway, just randomly pushing people in the subway when the cars come by, or you could just be walking down the street and somebody punches you from behind. And they might go to jail for a couple hours, but because of the administration and the changes, they could be out on the street an hour later and do the exact same thing again. So that's made it a little bit more challenging. I drive my car a lot more than I used to. But again, overall, if you're aware of where you're at and you're not walking around with headphones on like an idiot, you're going to be pretty safe. I mean, there's people everywhere. So it's been a little bit of a challenge, and I do worry about women that work on my team and doing showings late at the evening and stuff like that. But overall, it's okay. You just have to be aware and alert. But I'm not happy with what's transpired, and I think there's a reckoning that's going to happen in the States, and I don't think people are going to be tolerating that more. And I think a lot of changes are coming. Our current president is making sure that safety is one of the most important things, and people can think whatever they want about the president, but I support a president and an administration that makes people feel safe. And that's one of the main things that I'm a proponent of. And I believe that New York, whether there's moments of crime or whatever, overall, the trend might be like this right now. But I do feel that it's going back up. And in the last 6 to 12 months, it's become safer and safer. And that makes me feel very optimistic about it.
That's very good. Your president's a great guy.
Great guy.
Great guy.
Lots of great guys, but I'm the greatest.
All right, so let's talk about the trends in New York and Miami. I can tell you a little bit about Dubai, but I would like to hear about New York and Miami. What's happening? What are the strongest trends in real estate?
Well, overall, I would say that New York is the global safety deposit box. So anybody around the world, if they can get the money out of their country, the first city that they think of is New York. How do I get my money? Because it's safe. You put money in Miami, $15 million, in 5 years, that could be worth $6. Oh, wow. That's part of the problem with Miami, right?
Because
if you buy in, let's just say a hurricane comes. Hurricane could just take
natural
disaster could just cut the prices in half. The industry.
What about insurance? Doesn't work? No.
Bro, insurance.
New policies.
Insurance. I didn't even talk about insurance.
Okay.
There's service fees. There's this. Then you talk about insurance on top of it. Different beast. But in terms of trends in New York City, I would say one of the biggest trends is building new towers that have wellness components. So it's not just, we have a games room or a gym or whatever. It's like now you have spas, you have fitness centers, you have, steam rooms, saunas, cold plunges, and
yoga rooms.
Yoga
is becoming
more hammams, more and more amenities. Some of these towers now have over 100,000 square feet of amenities. And sometimes it feels like it's like a college campus. And, the great thing about it is, if you are a digital nomad or you're working in e-commerce, you actually don't have to leave your building. And you can just click a button. Like I know you guys have Kareem here. Same thing in New York. You could have something at your door within 15 minutes. And, to be honest, you don't have to go anywhere. Everything is already there and it's fully dialed in. So I would say condominiums that are being built now are really focused on the wellness. And that's one of the major trends that I'm seeing.
What about the branded residences? I mean, you mentioned like Aston Martin, Mercedes, and Bugatti, and all these brands. Like we have it here as well in Dubai. So, what do you think? I mean, I asked this question actually to Riyadh as well. Like, what is your opinion? Like hospitality brand, like such as Ritz-Carlton, because we have a lot of branded residences as well, which is branded by Ritz-Carlton, Kempinski, like big names, Four Seasons, versus those new branded residences, which are like ultra luxury car brands. Do you see value in them, and why investors are buying those versus hospitality brands?
Sure. I would say in New York, you're going to see more hospitality brands like the Four Seasons downtown, the Waldorf Astoria, which is was a renovation, and it's new condominiums on the east side in Midtown. Those are definitely important to the market, but it's not the market. When you're buying in New York, you're buying the developer. You're buying Central Park Tower, you're buying Extel. You're buying, Williamsburg Wharf, you're buying Naftali. So there's big names in New York City on the developer side, not necessarily the branded residents. But when you go down to the Miami market, it's tough because first off, Miami's super small. Super small. And how do you compete against other buildings? Well, the way that they compete down there is by making branded residences. So that creates the allure and the attraction, of those buyers. So if I own a Mercedes, naturally I'm going to buy the Mercedes. If I own an Aston Martin, naturally the Aston Martin residence is going to pique my interest. But if it's just the Delmore or the road residence, like what is that? I'm not going to buy that because who's the developer, right? Like you buy the developer in New York, you buy the brand in Miami.
Interesting. I think here is similar. You have to pay attention to the developer, the track record. It's very important. We discussed that already.
Yes, we did.
I'm not going to mention the names here, but but that's interesting. So Miami, I think, is more kind of a Dubai vibes.
Yes.
New York is more.
That's why, New York is a beast in and of itself. If I'm going to compare New York to anything, I'm going to compare it to London. Unfortunately, London hasn't been doing very well in the recent years. A lot of political turmoil and insane policies, which I think have really hurt the city. Plus, on the building side, there's extreme landmarks in London, which make it, extremely difficult to even renovate. So if you buy something, you have to keep it as is, which is tough. So London's really kind of out on that. I think Miami in general, what I've noticed about Dubai is that Miami is just like Dubai. If I'm, look, I'll be honest with you. I'm a New York, Miami guy. But now I'm thinking maybe I'm a New York, Miami, Dubai guy because the vibe that you get here is like the vibe of Miami. And Miami is about the size of downtown Dubai. So there's just so much more opportunity here in a city that is Miami in terms of look and feel and branded residences and water and culture. All of that is very similar. Versus New York, which is its own beast. But the thing is that, and it's a monster, okay? But Miami's small, and Dubai has a large-scale city feel, but it has the Miami vibe.
Yeah.
You know, the lights, the parties, the boat parties, the beach, the kite surfing, the skydiving, all the different amenities that are touristic, right? Like Miami, people go there for the tourism. They go there for the beach. They go there for the clubs, the 11, the strip clubs, the mega parties, you know, the beach clubs, the resorts, the Standard Hotel, the what is it? The Faena. The Faena residences. A lot of my friends are members at the Faena. We go there for lunch. It's great. But then you come here, and I feel like every building is like the Faena, right? And I'm like, wow. So like, it's not just confined to 5 buildings in Miami. It's expansive, like New York. So for me, I'm a big city guy. Going to Miami feels like a small city. Why? Because I live there. I know people there. You know, you want to get hooked up in Miami, you call me and I'll get you to where you need to go in less than 15 minutes. Like just like if I said, hey, you know, TM, I need to go do X, Y, and Z. You're gonna be like, oh, do this. So I do that in New York and Miami, right? But Miami's so small, and that's one of the advantages because now I'm in Miami, people know me. But here, it's so much bigger, which means that there's more opportunities.
Yes.
Whether it's on the real estate side, or whether it's on the business side, or whether it's on the clubbing or nightlife side, because there's more, and I like more. You know, because Miami at the end of the day is great, and if you want to relax, it's awesome. But like it ends.
Yeah.
You know, it ends. It's limited.
Yeah.
You know, there's only 16 residences that face west. That's it. Here you have the Palm, you have the World Islands, you have this, you have that. There's so much depth, and that's something that I really like.
It's insane. It's insane. All right, so man, I have a lot of questions. I think one podcast session is not enough with you. We definitely need to do the part 2.
We do. Yes, we do. Maybe in New York or Miami.
Maybe in Miami. We'll see. The final question, because I don't want to a lot of time of yours as well. If you could describe New York, Miami, and Dubai, each of them in one word, how would you describe it? Let's start from New York.
New York is power. New York is, so New York is power, okay? Miami is, I would say, it's tough.
Tough question.
There's multiple words that I want to use for Miami, but I would just like to say
whatever comes to your mind first. I mean, it's not, you know.
Yeah, I would just say exclusive.
Okay.
Exclusive.
And Dubai?
And Dubai is untouchable.
Wow, love that.
Because I don't think that any other city globally has the potential that Dubai has. Wow. New York, it's already there. It's the gorilla in the room. It's not going anywhere. I don't care what anybody does. The finance has the most billionaires. That's where Wall Street is. That's where everything is.
New York,
But here, I think you have unlimited potential. And I think it's one of the most unique cities because it's so welcoming from different cultures.
Yes.
And I think that gives it such a global feel. And it's very easy to do business here. It's very business friendly. It's very safe. And I think that this is the city of the future. And if you're going to ask me what the next city is for the next 50 years, it's here in Dubai.
Love that. Love that. Thank you very, very much, Nile. I would love to stay for another 2 hours with you and talk about everything.
Appreciate you.
Really, it was very insightful. I wanted myself to learn about U.S. market, so now we are more educated about U.S. market.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you very much for your time, for your friendship. I'm sure we're going to do a lot of things together.
Absolutely.
I'm very down to that. A lot of collabs. Stay tuned, guys. So many crazy things are coming. We're going to fly to New York, Miami as well, for sure. I'm planning that probably next year, maybe summer. Let's see how it goes. Would love to see you there and would love to see you here again. Thank you very much, guys. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share this video with everyone you know. And if you're interested in New York, Miami, in US markets, so Nile is the guy. Great guy.
Great guy.
Great guy. So I will put his, social media in the description down below. Make sure you subscribe to his channel.
Yo, hit the comments too. Don't be shy.
Yeah,
hit the comments. If you hit the comments, I'll get in there. I'll respond back to you guys as well, and we'll be very interactive. You can follow me at Nile Lundgren on all channels: TikTok, X, Instagram,
everywhere.
YouTube, you name it. All branded the same way. And thank you for your friendship as well, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you, Noel. Thank
Pleasure.
you very much.
Pleasure.
And see you in the next episode.